This is my new favorite drawing tool. Well, maybe. I've never done this before, so I'm going to try it and we're going to see how it goes. I was reading in this book about John Singer Sargent's charcoal portraits, and I came across an interesting section that was very mysterious. The artist used pellets of bread to remove excess charcoal and to create highlights. One sitter remembered Sargent saying that the drawing he was doing of him was full of fog. And then Sargent said, "However, you will now be surprised to see what an artist can do with a loaf of bread." I can only say that he never seemed to cease breaking off little lumps of bread and assiduously mopping up the fog. What I can glean from that is that it sounds like maybe Sargent was using the bread as an eraser. And I use a kneaded eraser all the time. And I don't think that it's too hard or abrasive on the modern papers that I use. But I definitely can imagine it being that way with some paper. And it does leave quite a sticky residue sometimes when I'm drawing with charcoal that can make it hard to remove and kind of work over the same area again. And so maybe Sargent just found bread to be more convenient and more usable than an old eraser on the paper that he was using. So I've never done this before. We're going to see how it goes together for the first time. So let's go. I have a vine charcoal stick. I have a charcoal pencil, and I have my piece of bread. Looking at this reference, the background is actually quite a similar tone or value to the subject. And so in honor of Sargent's foggy drawing, I'm going to start with a tone on the canvas already. We'll see what the bread does with that. So I'm just kind of blocking in with the side of the vine charcoal. With the kneaded charcoal, you can see that this is quite easy to remove. So I'm just doing that as kind of a starting point. And you can actually see right here, there's a little black dark dot there, and that often happens when I'm using kneaded eraser. It kind of leaves a residue, and then when I try to blend into it again, the charcoal kind of sticks to that part of the paper and leaves a darker spot, which is really annoying. I'm wondering if maybe the bread will avoid that. And I'm not going to be super accurate with my drawing or my rendering, because I'm just trying to get familiar with bread as a medium. And so I'm not going to worry too much about perfect drawing accuracy, but I am going to try to get the values and the general shapes in the right place. Okay, so I don't know if it's foggy enough. I'm just going to soften almost everything. I'm going to make it more foggy. Less distinct. I'm not confident yet in the shapes. And so I'm going to basically just destroy any sense of certainty in this initial sketch. It actually looks better that way. More painterly with the charcoal. I think it's the moment of truth. I think it's time to try the bread. It said that he used pellets of bread. So I'm just going to rip this apart. Here's my pellet of bread. This is so exciting. I'm going to shape it like I would a kneaded eraser. Let's see. Yeah, can I even hold on to this? Okay. So I'm going to try to do a little bit of drawing with this and see what happens. Ooh. That's pretty nice, actually. So I'm not going right for the highlight. I'm going for this kind of contrast area along the edge of the sphere. And yeah, let me just kind of sketch with it. There's kind of crumbs falling off of it as I'm drawing with it. Wow. Hold on, I have to blow the crumbs off. Okay. So first few marks, it's actually really nice. I thought it might be nice because Sargent did it, but it's surprisingly nice to draw with. Okay, so what's really nice about this is it's kind of a mix between a brush and an eraser, because it has these jagged edges, rough edges that help to blend, but it also has the absorbency of an eraser. My paper is covered in crumbs. So I do think I need some bread that maybe holds together a little bit better, or maybe if I kind of squeeze it a little bit tighter. Let's see. I would definitely need to put a little handheld vacuum in my drawing pack if I were to take this to like life drawing. If you've ever been to a fancy restaurant and the waiter comes over with like a metal stick and they call it a crumber and they use it to like scrape the crumbs off the table, I think that's what I need. Okay, so I'm going to try to get the highlight in here. Well, not the brightest highlight, but I'm going to try to get kind of the general shape around the highlight. So let's try that. I don't want to get the brightest highlight yet, because I want to come in with a charcoal pencil and kind of sneak up on the highlight. So let's see here. So like I said, I'm not trying to make this a perfect rendering or perfectly accurate. I'm mostly interested in playing with bread. I see plenty of inaccuracies in my drawing, and so I'm just going to try to correct them with the bread. Just small angle issues, small value issues. So yeah, I'm going to try to like even out the value a little bit over here. It's interesting, it evens out the texture of the charcoal itself. It's really fascinating. So now I'm going to take a big chunk of bread and I'm going to wipe some of this foreground area that's a little bit lighter. I guess that's another big benefit of using a piece of bread, is that it's kind of like a brush with a variable size. Like you can use a bigger size or a smaller size and it's all going to be the same texture and the same quality, but yeah, you can change the size, or you can squeeze it to change the texture. So it's very flexible. So yeah, let's see. So now that I have sketched this using bread and charcoal and brushes, I'm gonna get out a very detailed eraser here to put in the highlight, kind of as a reward for working through the fog. And yeah, this should give me, just at the end, a nice clear highlight right in the middle of the light shape there. A little bit more sculpting with a tool that has a lot more accuracy. So the drawing kind of developed from the least accurate approach, big swatches of charcoal powder kind of spread across the page, to a more accurate approach, carving into that with bread and blending it with brushes, and then only at the end going to an eraser that has the most accuracy. It's very small and it's very hard, and so it gives me the ability to have these kind of very hard lines. So the drawing developed from fog to a little bit more clarity to accuracy. Here's what's left of my bread after drawing. What's my review? 10 out of 10, just for fun, but it's also really effective as a drawing tool. It's kind of a combo brush eraser that's super flexible. I do need to find something to do about the crumbs that are all over my desk now. I might need to experiment with different types of bread or carry a vacuum with me. I think you should try it. Let me know in the comments if you do try it and how it goes, or if you have any other types of bread that I should try, or weird drawing materials that I should try out. Maybe I'll try them out in another video. Otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this, and we'll see you next time.